The Do This podcast is part of the Win, Make, Give podcast network. Join Bob Stewart and Chad Hyams as they welcome Tyler Willmann, a successful real estate leader from San Antonio, Texas. Discover how Tyler grew his team from 2 agents to over 25 in just 2 years by leveraging Brivity Recruiter and fostering a supportive team culture. Learn about the importance of setting a solid foundation, the power of a well-prepared recruiting presentation, and creating an interdependent work environment. We hope you enjoy this episode of the Do This podcast presented by Brivity.
Hey, everybody. Welcome. It's Thursday. We're going to do this with our friend Tyler Willmann. Tyler, what's happening, bud?
Oh, so much, Bob. So much. Thanks for having me on here. Let's rock and roll today. Let's bring it.
Let's go. What? This guy's got as much energy as we do, Chad.
Wait. Tyler, before we get where I know Bob's going, does that say give a goat?
Give a goat. If you go to, I got this shirt from a friend of ours, Meg Panella. She sent it to me. Giveagoat.org if you're interested. Instead of giving someone a glass of milk, give them a goat and they can have milk all day, all year. So, yeah.
Okay.
It's they're helping people out in Uganda. So give a goat.
Got it.
Okay. .org.
Very cool.
Shameless plug. All right.
Well, in exchange for your shameless plug,
okay,
do me a favor. Introduce yourself to our audience so everybody knows kind of who Tyler is, where you're at, where you do business, how long you've been around, that kind of thing.
Yeah, so my name's Tyler Willmann. I'm in San Antonio, Texas, where it's a balmy 107 outside right now. And I want to say 17 years ago, I've been doing this 19 years, real estate thing. I have to do it because I'm non-hireable. No one would hire me based off my resume now. So I got to keep doing this. I've been through one market shift and they say we're in another one right now. I'm not really experiencing it with our team. About 2 years ago, we partnered up with that company Place. Bob's hat there. There's another shameless plug. And in 17 years, I had 2 agents. After 2.5 years with Place, we went from 2 agents to 25. I think we might have 27 right now. So
that sounds messy. Where do we want to start here? So we're gonna kind of focus on recruiting and how you've gone about growing your team over the last couple of years. So from 2 agents to 25 in how long did you say?
2 years, 2.5 years.
And how long?
I don't even know the math, Bob. You got to do the math. Like that's not double. That's not triple. That's like a lot more. That's like 12 times in our business.
10x, something like that. People like to say 10x. Let's say 10x.
Yeah, okay. I mean, it is a 10x. Let's talk first about the mess that creates. Like, what have been some of the challenges in bringing on that many people that fast? Because that is pretty fast. I mean, when you break it down, you're like, it's been 24 months. We brought in 23 agents. We're essentially bringing on 1 a month. I know it doesn't play out like that. It's like you have 2 or 3 or 5 months where you don't have any, and then you have 5 come in the building or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's still a lot of extra growth in over a pretty short period of time. So what have been the complications?
Yeah, if you ever worked in restaurants, it was some days are like Mother's Day where everyone comes in at once, and then some days are like a Tuesday and no one shows up. To be honest, we actually onboarded 56 people. And so from those, we pretty much kept half.
Okay.
And in the beginning, it was messy because you're trying to bring on as many people and then you're pouring into them. And some people absorb it. And then some people are like buckets without a bottom. You're just pouring and pouring. You're like, I'm running out of stuff to pour into you, buddy. And it wasn't till we're at some event and I had learned, the rule of thirds. You got 1/3 that's not going to do anything. 1/3, they'll do a deal here or there. And then this top third, they're going to rock and roll. And these people are fun. And so now we got a good group of these people, and I love hanging out with them.
Are you, do you still, over time, have you been able to figure out how to just get the 1/3 you want? or maybe that's the 2/3 you want, or have you given up on even trying? I heard somebody recently say,
Kevin last week.
Oh, was
Kevin
it
last
Kevin?
week
He's
said
like,
you can't do that, right? You
you're
don't
never
know
going to
who's
be able
who.
to guess. Or have you kind of given up on trying to figure out, and you just have gotten comfortable realizing some are going to wash out?
Yeah. The short version is if they got a good attitude and show up, I'll pour into them. But I don't know who's going to be successful. So I'm with Keller Williams, and we have all this crazy training and hiring stuff. Well, you'll spend 2 days getting to know someone and taking all these tests. Oh, someone else is logging in. That's me. That's my business partner. There's Yvette. Hey, Yvette. So she's just watching.
All right.
She's my business partner. And what I learned from the Keller Williams thing was, yeah, on paper, but it can't. Oh my gosh, everyone's got my login now. This is going to be amazing.
Group session.
Yeah, you can't measure drive. You cannot measure drive, or want or desire. And so I used to take all the stuff they learned in me. I'm a good English talker. And apply that to people, but I was missing out on people, and people that didn't have a history of success, that didn't fit all the boxes, ended up being some of our best agents.
Yeah, it's a great point, Tyler. I want to ask you this. You mentioned about half, right? You brought on like 56 and you have 25-ish, somewhere in there, 27.
Yeah.
Did the ones that leave, was it self-realized that they showed up and they were like, this is too much for me, or I can't live up to what they're expecting of me? Or was it, you're not making the cut, we've got to let you go to make space for others? Where did we end up with that? Was it them choosing to leave, or was it you realizing, I threw you in, you're drowning, we're getting you out of the pool?
Yeah, so we've never kicked anyone out. They've all made those.
So the ones that drown, you just let them drown and they crawl out of the pool somewhere on their own.
Yeah, they do, or they don't. It's like a Gold's Gym. If you have a gym membership, Gold's doesn't say, "Hey, we haven't seen you in 60 days. Do you want to stop paying us, or do you want to, you know?" We've only had to remove one person, and that's because they had a different version of reality, and it wasn't in culture. But everyone else, I started part-time. My business partner, Yvette, down there, she kind of started part-time too, even though she was working a full-time job. So I give people grace there as they can make that transition.
Tyler, there's got to be somebody on this call who's like, where the heck did you find 56 people to come through the business? Like, I'm having a hard time finding 2 to interview. Where are you finding these people?
So our biggest source in the beginning, Bob, if you move your head, it's from that company, Brivity.
Oh, okay.
Brivity has a built-in recruiter into that. And so that was awesome in the beginning because we could just call those people. Brivity was amazing at it. And we would get leads, many times a day and call them. And then because of Brivity, if they were unqualified, every now and then, once a week, I would say Yvette's here once a week, because we knew recruiting was important. We kind of spent a day just power dialing through those, and Brevity made that easy. So there's a lot of
you guys would spend, so you would go, I assume, Tyler, and I'm in your database right now. I'm not super familiar with it.
Okay.
I would assume you guys, it's like you're doing plenty of prospecting. You guys make thousands of dials into your database. So, but one day a week, you and Yvette would focus just like instead of prospecting for buyers and sellers, you guys were prospecting for the next agent to join your team.
Yeah. And then we'd set those appointments for the next week.
And Brivity Recruiter is where you got a lot of those opportunities. It wasn't you were teaching a class and bringing in people. Brivity Recruiter was just setting you up with name after name after name after name, and you probably had a few hundred of them. You got appointments with however many of them, brought on 50, whatever it was, and now you have 27 of them left.
That's right. Yeah.
Have you figured out that like, do you have kind of an understanding of what that sales funnel in this case looks
Right. Is
like?
it 4 Brivity leads that turns into 2 appointments that turn into 1 recruit?
I want to say 10%, maybe 10% conversation. So for every appointment set, every 2 appointments set, 1 would show.
One would show. So the other one would just no showed you.
Yeah. And they just no show, no skin off our back. Well,
right. Folks, that's a reason to make your appointments in your office so you can keep working on whatever you were working on. So if they don't show up, you wasted no time.
Right. I try to schedule those times. And then for every 2 appointments, 1 would be a fit. So it really came down to 4. If set 4 appointments, 1 will sign.
There you go. 4 appointments, 2 showed up, 1 signed. Now you guys have the general math based on Tyler math.
There you go. Tyler math. Now, in the beginning, though, we weren't very good at recruiting. And we didn't have our pitch down. So make sure whatever your team value is, get that nailed down. Because when you're talking to those soon-to-be team members, partners, they're going to want to know what's in it for them. How are you going to be successful?
What have you used? Like, do you use the place recruiting guide there and just kind of run that thing back to back? Or have you guys kind of made your own lane there?
Yeah, we used that one. We did our own. It didn't work. And so we started copying the place one. I was on a call and they said, you guys have been, all you realtors, operators have been selling real estate for a long time. Do you have a listing presentation? I'm like, yeah, I got a listing presentation. I can nail it. I'll close 90% of listing appointments that go on. They said, do you have the recruiting presentation down? And I'm like, no. So Yvette and I practiced that, and we got really good at it.
Isn't that cool? Bob's talking to a chair. Okay.
Where did his head go?
I don't know. His head left. He was talking to a chair.
I'm just going to tell you, you can't see because I got my new background. Shout out to my new background. My wife needed the back of her. She's headed out of the house. She needed her dress zipped on the back. She doesn't have long enough arms. So that's what I was doing.
That was nice.
Sorry.
There you go. All right.
That's awesome. Technology.
But that is a great pitch, folks. Everybody out there, you have your buyer consultation appointment, right? Whatever that is, you have that. If you're doing listings, hopefully you have your listing presentation down. Tyler was saying he gets 90%. I got over 90%. I had my listing presentation perfect. Ben had his right? Some people use flip charts. Some people use a piece of paper. Some people went iPad. That doesn't matter. It's the presentation. Do you know it? Can you get through it? How's that any different from recruiting? If you're attempting to grow your organization and don't have a recruiting presentation down, you're just getting in front of people and floundering and probably vomiting your company all over them that they're going, ew, and want to leave because you're just too busy talking and throwing things at them.
Yeah. Or like your first listing appointments. I like you, you like me, sign the paper. And they're like, wait, what? There's value. So yeah, now they see the value.
In some of the pre-chatter we were having, you made a comment around the idea of like at some point as you were loading the team up with more partners, it got to a place where like they started to hold each other accountable. Can you talk about that a little bit? Because I think one of the hardest parts about running a team is you want everybody to be accountable to what they told you they wanted to do when they signed up, Tyler, right? And then they get in the chairs and not everybody kind of shows up in the way that they need to get to the goals that they told you they wanted to accomplish. So how did you guys get to this place where it started to become kind of a self-fulfilling, I don't know, like they were.
It's a flywheel. You got to get to the 10 agents. And
10, that's the key? Like 10, right in that 10 range?
Right around the 10 range. And Yvette and I, and when we're just slogging through the mud in the beginning till you can get to that 10. And we would tell each other, our little mantra was get 10 agents, then we can get 10 good agents. Well, let's get 10 agents first, then 10 good agents. And, once we got that going, every morning we do a little power up from 8:30 to 9. And we're not always in the office when we do that. So we started doing it on Zoom. And in the beginning, when you got 2 or 3 agents, it's like talking to a wall. It'd be like me doing a power up to that versus, and then once we got to the 10, we started getting an engagement with like 3 or 4, and then we could have them start reading. They would start riffing on each other. They would hold each other accountable. It's like getting a gym buddy, you know. They started going to the office, and then it kind of just built from there. And then anyone else we added, they could kind of see that culture. And so really Yvette and I could step back and let them, culture and monitor and lead each other. And one of the best days ever was last Tuesday. We only come into the office once a week now, but I came in on a Tuesday for something, and I went into my office, and my agents were in there making calls and coaching each other. And I wanted to jump in and say, okay, you need to say this, but my agent said everything that I would have said. I'm like, they don't need me. I just want to find some cool agents that want to work.
Did you
wait, we got to go in that comment, Bob. You got to go with that right? They don't need me. That's now a fear people have, Tyler, when they're building a team, is that people don't need them, right? They want to motherbird them to a point that, yes, they still would have jumped in. Yes, they still would have been hands-on. How do you cope with they don't need me? And what value are you therefore still providing them that makes them say, I don't need you. I want you because of what you're bringing me. Because too many people think it's, well, I just give them leads and they're going to stay forever. They're not. Someone's going to give them more leads somewhere else.
That is a good question. I've never had that fear. And I think it goes back to what is it, Covey or something? They talk about the dependent model, independent and interdependent.
Mm-hmm.
And we know if we want to thrive, we want to be in an interdependent relationship. And so that's what I like to do. I don't want to teach them to be dependent. I know some brokerages have that model, and then they basically hobble their agents to show them that you need me. You cannot leave. You cannot be successful without me. I don't want those people. I want them to grow and be intermittent so that we all grow together.
That's a great, great statement. And for those who don't understand it, think about it like this. Dependent is the child, the young child. They rely on you for everything. They won't eat without you. They won't bathe without you. You have to take care of that baby. Then the independent, that's the teenager. They want nothing to do with you, right? Leave me alone. Get out of my life. Interdependent is when they've become adults themselves and they choose. They want that relationship with you because they understand now that you have value for them, yet they're not reliant completely upon you. So that's a quick breakdown, dependent to independent to interdependent. Thank you for bringing it up.
Yeah. Yeah, go for it, Bob.
Tyler, do certain people on your team like emerge as leaders? And do you have to have a few do that?
We're starting to encourage it, and we're starting to go down that road. We're having them start leading power ups. Yesterday, one of the agents took it on himself to say, hey, I'm coming into the office. I'm going to do $1,000 a day. If anyone wants to come in, we can hang out. And that wasn't from us. They wanted to do it. And I actually came into the office for an appointment, and then I stuck around because I liked it. And it'd been forever since I stayed past 5 p.m. in my office, but I'm like, these kids are cool. Or not kids, these agents are cool. I like hanging out. I like hanging out with people that work.
Yeah, I mean, you have a lot of activity. Like just and I think as much as anything, that's what is snowballing. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's like when somebody else is doing it and I'm just sitting there, I feel like I got to do it. And you got a lot of people doing it. Like, how did you lead them into doing it? Because somebody generally has to lead the army into the activity. Who on your team is that person? Is it you? Is it Yvette? Is it Marco? Like he just decided he was going to be the champion of the team. Like who led the charge? Did somebody?
We laid the foundation. Yvette and I laid the foundation. It was during. I've been doing this for a while, and I always blocked out 2 hours in the morning. And when COVID happened and Yvette and I couldn't come into the office, we started doing Zoom. And we would just leave a Zoom open and we would make our calls from 9 to 11. And so when we started bringing on agents, we just kind of showed them this is what we do. Hang out, listen to us. And then they kind of figured that out. And now, yeah, they're kind of leading each other. Marco, Jacori, Rosie, Mike, and some of the middle section is starting to move up into that top section.
That's
Yeah,
awesome. That's
it's
awesome.
super interesting. I always like you guys have. I always talk about this. Like when you go out and recruit, when you bring people in, you got like kind of 3 types that will come in, similar to what you were saying. The 3, right? You got the one that they're just not going to do it no matter what. Okay, yeah. I don't even like. I'm not sure why they even wanted the job. Maybe they didn't understand what the job actually was. Then you've got that kind of middle of the road, and what those people do is they'll look around and they'll go, "What do I got to do to fit in here?" And like on your team to fit in, like you got to be making like 500 calls into the database. Like that's how you fit in, right? Because that's what, I got a few people above that, just a couple below that, but that's kind of the middle of the road. And then every once in a while, maybe we get lucky and we hire a Marco or something who's like, I want to be number 1 around here. And he goes out and he raises the bar, which then kind of brings everybody up. Like you guys have a pristine environment to continue to recruit into because there's so much activity. Like it's almost, you're either just going to be like, I don't fit in here or I want to fit in here, which is really like a really healthy place that you guys have established where somebody could fit in.
And if it's too much for them, they might be in this area, this bottom third, and maybe it's not a fit, but I'm not going to chase them.
Right. That's good. You were talking earlier, you said that of the 2 appointments you had, one wasn't a fit. Okay. And Bob brought up the conversation off something you said that Kevin Hoffman had said in our last week conversation about there's no way you're going to find you can't target the perfect recruit to become the perfect agent. You have no idea who they're going to be. Go with the revolving door concept. Bring in 50 something and let the 20 something stay. Self-discovery. Yet, are there any specific traits, characteristics, experiences that are red flags that say this person is one that's going to not fit? They're this recruit, or this person's definitely somebody I want to give the opportunity to because they're showing me green flags over here. Are there any things you've now learned to look for that our audience should learn?
Red flags, I would say, I think at an unconscious level, I kind of recognize them and I kind of avoid them, and then I won't close that person.
Right.
And it could be like victim talk, not taking personal responsibility for success. But I'm really focused on the green flags. And some of my favorite things to ask, like, what'd you do in high school? What'd you do in middle school? And if you can see like this entrepreneurial type brain, I think there might be a higher chance of success there for them. One of my favorite things is I don't know if you guys have this, Bob or Chad. In middle school or maybe it was you guys. In middle school, there was a kid that brought the extra duffel bag with sodas and chips in it or candy and sell those. Sometimes I'll ask them, hey, were you that person? And they're like, yeah, how'd you know? And I'm like, yeah, why'd you do that? She's like, I wanted money. So you'll find those people. Yeah, I kind of like those. You do look for a history of success, but then I've also had people that didn't have that, and maybe this is their first opportunity to be successful.
Are there any standard questions you ask that our audience should be writing down right now and saying, I've got to ask that question on a recruiting appointment because it throws up a flag, whether it's red or green, when I listen to the answer?
I asked the same 5 questions, and maybe when I repeat them, it might only be 4 because I've kind of streamlined them. One is why'd you get in real estate? Number 2 is what's your break even? What do you need to make a month to break even and just pay the bills? And then what would be success in a year? In 12 months, what would that look like? What would that number be? And then how do you see this looking in 3 to 5 years?
Okay.
There's another question. I don't know if I remember it anymore. I don't, but
let's go to one of those questions. Let's go to the what's your break even point? What are you looking for there? Are you looking for somebody that knows exactly how much money they need to make? Are you looking for like somebody that has obligations that they need to cover? What are you hoping to
I had a lady that really wanted to do this. She said she wanted to do this. Single mom, sole provider, living in an apartment. I said, "What's your break even?" And she told me, I don't know, maybe it was 3,000, 4,000 a month. And I'm like, "Okay, so do you have another source of income?" And she's like, "No, I need a job right now." And I'm like, "I don't think this is going to be the best opportunity for you. I would feel terrible having you do this. And in meantime, your daughter can't eat." So I kind of had her self-discover this is probably not the best. But if you do know some of their break-ins, some of them have some money saved. I got 3 months saved. I just got severance from this company. Then you can use that to motivate them. Like, you got so many days left. What do you want to do?
I gotta bet more people than not have no idea what that break-even number is, and they're either BSing you on the spot, or they're like, I mean, like Bob's saying, does that matter if someone comes in and goes, I don't really know, maybe it's 8,000, I don't know what it is. Does that change the conversation?
Not really. Well, I'll help narrow it down. I'm like, well, what do you got to pay? What are your bills? Some of them say I got a spouse. Some of them say I have this, and that's fine.
So you're able to find motivation by asking that question because they have a spouse who's making enough money that they don't really need to do this, or they have payments they need to make and they need the money. And yeah, they might have 3 or 4 months of reserves, yet
Right.
that gives them the ramp. Yet, they're going to need to be closing deals, so they're going to make more calls.
Yeah. Yeah. Or I've had this recently with a person, and they had a spouse that made money, and they said to me, "It's not about money. I just like to win."
Ooh.
I want that person on my team.
I'll hire that. If they're not working with you now, have them call me. We'll put them to
No,
work.
no, they're signed up. They're signed up, and I'm like, okay, you're gonna like this. You're gonna like this. Also, they certain things I like. People that worked in restaurants, bartenders, servers. They know how to move. Baristas. They know how to move fast. They know how to problem solve. Look for people that know how to problem solve. Because real estate's not linear. Nothing's the same.
Those are some great tips. I mean, I know, Tyler, everyone says to me, "Oh, I can talk to anybody." I'm like, okay, that doesn't mean you can ask for business. When you're a server, you were always taught how to upgrade, right? How to ask for the appetizer or the dessert. You were taught certain things. That is great, right? I absolutely agree. If you can find a former bartender or server, 100% hire them in a heartbeat, as long as they're not a cultural mismatch.
Right, right. And when you go out with your friends or whatnot, be on the lookout for them. There's one at a local restaurant. I'm gonna have to become a local there because I'm like, she's really good at this, and I bet she would be amazing at real estate.
I want to finish. Here. We're kind of coming up to the end of the half hour.
Sure.
It's a lot of 56 people you've brought into your business. How the heck do you get these people trained? How do you get them understanding your Brivity and the software you use? Are you guys running trainings all day long there in the office? Kind of talk to me about getting these people up to speed once they join.
Just start picking up the phone and start dialing.
Okay, so just throw them into the mix and ask them to do that number one job a real estate agent wants to go find a client.
Just make some contacts, and then we can fine tune it based off the results and what I hear you say. Yeah.
Just get them into action.
Yeah. What we don't want to do is get ready to get ready to get ready to get ready. Let's start doing, and then we'll figure out where we need to fine tune.
Well, listen, as we wrap up here, Tyler, thank you so much. So a couple things that I heard today, Chad. Brivity Recruiter is a really good source to kind of get them coming in the door. Tyler and Yvette just decided they treated one day a week to go kind of focus on that, a big priority in their business, which was getting agents in the door. And so they just sat down and called them the same way they asked their agents to sit down and call and look for buyers and sellers. And then you guys got to a point where the momentum of the agents started to propel the next group of agents in the door to be accountable and do the thing. You called it the flywheel, and you eventually got to that point. And then maybe last, just when they come in the door, get them into activity, because that's what they're going to need to do to ultimately be successful. Tyler, as we wrap up today, leave everybody with, is there something that we didn't talk about, something you want to put a stamp back on that we did talk about?
The messy middles is before you get 10 agents. But then once you get 10 agents, then get 10 good agents.
I love that. That's a great way to sum it up right there, Tyler.
10.
All right.
Take us out, Bob.
Chad, I don't know how we take us out. I forget. I can't remember if it's Wednesday or Thursday. Tyler, you were amazing event. Thanks for jumping in. Ghost Tyler, who never turned their mic on. Thank you as well. Or camera on, I guess. Tyler, appreciate you doing this, man. I know you got a whole bunch of people that would love to have your time. We appreciate you spending it with us. We'll see everybody next week. Chad, thank you.
Thanks,
Bye,
guys.
Bye,
See you
guys.
soon. All right.